application needs to be refreshed.
We're good?
You think we're good?
Did you just plug it into the wrong
Mic check, mic check.
wrong cable there?
Do
Hey, where are we? Can you hear me?
It's probably that.
It's going to be a 30-second delay before.
All right, we're back,
There we
boys.
go.
We're back,
Yes.
baby.
Wow.
So back to my story. I'm trying not to redo it. Whoa. Let me turn off my audio.
Hey, careful there.
So yes, I'd like to cheers a proper toast to Al Pacino, 83 years old, having a baby with his 29-year-old girlfriend.
Wow.
How trippy is that? Absolutely wild, but cheers, boys.
Cheers.
To you,
Cheers.
to Al.
He's putting Leo in the dust.
To
Wow.
greatest actors of all time, showing us how it's done.
Gives me hope. At that age?
A lot.
3 of us can't even get it done, but here goes Pacino.
I think it's his
I
fourth.
guess you've got time.
Fourth child. Yeah, what do you guys think of that arrangement?
What do you think the arrangement is?
I'm just asking you. I'm just asking the questions. I mean, what do you think of that? 83 years old, having a baby, 29 years old. I mean, pretty sweet deal on both sides, if you ask me.
Well, what do you think the arrangement is for the other side?
Well, I mean, she's set for life.
Do you think that's definitely part of the arrangement?
I'm
It's
not saying
love?
it was like this formal love. I mean, like, can you be in love at 83 with a 29-year-old?
With a legend?
Like, I mean, that's older, like that's way younger than his daughter. I don't know. It's just weird. I'm not one to judge his love situation, whether they're actually in love. I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying it's a sweet deal. Like, she's obviously set for life by bearing one of his children. And so she's in great shape. The baby is in great shape. You know,
But
you are the daughter or son of Al
Potentially
Pacino.
no dad in his, like,
Right.
formative years.
And then in his case, it's like he's got this young partner at 83 years old that's keeping him young. I think that's great. I mean, look at Leo. He doesn't date past 25. Like, this is like the next level. I think if you were one of the most famous men in the world and you had all the money you wanted, you'd want something similar to the life that he has. Like you like all these like rich and famous celebrities tend to just go through partners quickly. And like on one hand, it's like, that's kind of like gross and disrespectful, right? But then on the other hand, it's like, well, look, like the other party is gaining something from this too. They're
Right.
gaining a lot from this too. I think it's an arrangement. It's just like a mutual understanding. You gain something, I gain something, and it's all gravy. I think so.
Don't get me wrong. I definitely think you would do it.
That I would do it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you would do it too.
Of course.
You know
I
what?
think
I don't know if I would. I'm open to the idea. That
I don't think I
might.
want a
I
baby
don't
at
know.
83. I think that's sad. That's difficult.
Yeah, that's
Dude, did you know De Niro had his 7th child at age 79 with a
You're kidding.
younger lady, and this was back in May of this year.
What if Al and Bobby had a bet going? And this was like oldest one to have a baby, and Pacino just won like an extra million or something. I could totally see that. I could see that.
ugh. All right.
Hope
Well,
their first name doesn't rhyme with accident.
I don't know if I'm bullish on 90-year-olds having kids, but you know what I am bullish on?
Ooh, I feel a transition coming.
Almost everything right now. How are you guys feeling? Does anybody feel bullish right now?
So before you get to that, can we just welcome everyone and announce one thing?
Sure.
So we're almost at, thanks, Stephen. I appreciate
Sure.
this opportunity.
Segue rejected.
We're almost at 1,000 subs on our YouTube channel.
We're like 40 away.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for like joining us in this YouTube experiment. It's been awesome. We've been setting up this studio. We've got live streaming going. We've got Jordan in the house handling the switches right now. We're using a new software. We're
It already
techno kings over
broke,
here. Yeah. And yeah, it already broke. And we're literally 1,000 away. So it'd mean a lot if you're not subscribed and you're watching to please subscribe to the channel. If you can share the episode and
Click the
ask
like.
some-
Click the like button.
Yes.
Very
click the like
easy
button
ask.
as well.
Boost this thing.
And let's get to 1,000 subs. By the next time we do this episode, we should definitely be at 1,000 subs. So we'd really appreciate that.
I would like
And
that.
anything else?
It's kind of a big deal to get to 1,000, right? Doesn't YouTube, the platform, allow you to do more things once you get to 1,000? So like
Maybe.
we actually want to get there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had great success with the pod so far, and we've grown this incredible community, and that's happening mostly on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But now we're really focused on on YouTube, and we're seeing good growth. And yeah, we really love it. So
I'm just really curious what ads the algorithm decides to throw after Armand's little shticks there. Like, what do you think is going to
Just
be there?
interject some midstream.
It's just going to be some just boner pills midstream.
that works.
No, we
that
have the
works.
ads disabled, I believe.
But I'm bullish on
uninterrupted.
YouTube podcasts, Stephen. That's what I'm bullish on. YouTube is really doubling down on this, and I think it's a data point that a lot of people didn't know is that YouTube is actually #1 for podcasts, not Apple Podcasts.
It's my number one podcast app is YouTube, which, by the way, like I think it's good alphas. The YouTube Premium, it obviously disables all the ads, but allows you to listen
the best.
while having the app disabled or your phone
Oh, I
off.
forgot that's a feature.
Yeah,
it's
that's
it
a feature
changed my
I
life.
constantly
Armand
use.
convinced me to finally get it, and I use
Yeah.
it every single day.
Hookham was saying this in our Discord yesterday or the day before. He was like, favorite subscriptions, YouTube Premium and ChatGPT. Like,
Yeah.
those are, and I agree.
How
Those
much
probably
are
my-
both of those?
I think YouTube's $13.99 and
Is it that much?
GPT's like $20.
Oh, I thought it was like $5.
No, I think it's like 12 or 13.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's up there, but
13, 14. It's
Worth it.
amazing.
About
So
a
worth
while
it.
ago. Yeah, it's definitely worth it just for the time you don't spend watching ads.
All right, so back to you. What
Yeah.
are you bullish on, Steven?
I think I'm bullish on a lot right now. I feel pretty good about the markets. I've had
give me your case. I'm
had a
curious.
bit of a coming to Jesus moment over the last 7 days or so. Yeah, I don't know. I just like pulled up, some charts. I zoomed out, looked at some stuff on the high time frame, NASDAQ stocks especially. I don't know. It doesn't look like something that you want to short at the moment. We did get wrecked. We did go down for a pretty long time. And everybody I know is pretty much bearish and underpositioned. And it's kind of getting to the point where everybody's like saying the same thing. Everybody's saying, I'm cozy in T-bills, going to wait out the upcoming recession and then buy the bottom and then like participate in the bull market of 2024, 2025. And I'm just like, well, what if that was the bottom already? Like, what if the bull market already started? What if it's an abbreviated bull market? What if things crash in the middle of next year instead of going up? What if you miss the whole run and you capitulate at the top and then you get wrecked? I don't know. Like, all these scenarios are kind of going through in my head, but it just like stuff just looks good right now.
But the possibility of that happening isn't an argument that it will happen, right? You're saying that like everyone's saying something else, and it's probable. It would be painful if it did happen, but it doesn't necessarily make it.
It does in a way
Yeah,
because
this is like, what's your probability assignment to this like case?
it's pretty high.
Really?
Like
Like it's your median or majority?
I bought a lot of ETH over the weekend, and I bought more today, and like I got some fills at like 1850, missed some. And my plan is to just buy all the way down into the 17s, honestly.
What can you clarify the time horizon?
There's
Is this
literally no difference.
1
to me.
month, 6 months,
17, 18,
12 months?
16. Like,
For what, like a bull?
What's the time horizon?
I like a big move up into the end of year. I think. I'm not so sure if we're gonna get one of these kind of flushes that where everybody's like, "See, told you, you idiots, you bought the top again," and but it's actually just a dip. It's like one of those kind of, you sometimes have these flushes right before stuff like really kicks up. I just think this is one of those easy points to get long, because I think if you're wrong, you lose a little bit, and it's kind of obvious, at least in my opinion, where you are wrong. And so I just like to shove the chips in there, because if it's like an oopsie, I just go, ooh, I guess that wasn't it, and then I.
How will you know you're
Take a
wrong
scratch.
in this scenario?
So I'm like zoomed way out on this stuff, and I'm looking at like weekly, monthly charts, and I'm really focused on Ethereum, but also on the stock market. Like we're in like a weekly, monthly uptrend. We're making higher highs, higher lows. As long as that structure holds, like I think you want to be biased to the upside. Like we did put in a new before. It's always the same thing at the bottom. It's like people don't realize they're not in a bear anymore. It's crazy. Everybody just gets sucked into you get into this routine of being a bear, being a bear, being a bear. And then like you look up and the price is like tripled and you go, whoa, 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 what the heck just happened? I was just going to buy the bottom. It was supposed to. Never really is.
The economy as like the structural effects in the economy, macro, I guess in general, to kind of guide my thinking. And I'd say for the bull case, I'd say the economy is super resilient. The Fed is not necessarily going to hike more than 6%. This has been a slowdown that's been very slow, like the recession that's coming in slow motion. And maybe companies, households, it's been so slow that they've actually been able to like adjust as necessary and keep the economy resilient. Unemployment is still at secular lows. So I think there is a bull case for sure. I don't necessarily see like a mega bull case to all-time highs. And when I try to make the bear case, it just seems a little easier. Maybe because it's been, I don't know, been hearing that tune for a lot longer. But the idea that the amount of money is declining, credit is slowly declining. You know, we'll have to see if unemployment moves at all. Like the jobs report's coming on Friday. I'm really curious to see if that moves at all. But those are things that I've been thinking about. So I'm not I can't get behind it unless you give me a good macro argument.
Well, what I would, a quick one to what you said, you're talking about the economy. Like the stock market's just not the economy, right?
Right.
Like if corporate profits stay up and stocks go up, and crypto, I think, is even more disconnected from the economy in a way. So I don't know. Eric, you look like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm in a state of confusion because I'm seeing what you both are seeing, right? Like I see macro factors that would lead you to believe that the worst is not behind us. But then, you know, Steven is a guy who likes to look at prices, and prices determine how you should look at future prices. That's Steven's view. And, you know, the price action has been suggestive of the fact that we've already bottomed, or that like we've at least like locally bottomed. And, you know, I'm getting to the place where like I'm asking myself, well, when are you going to buy? You know, like, and that is usually an indication that I shouldn't, you know, because like I'm getting to the place where I'm seeing NVIDIA, I'm seeing, you know, maybe the top 5 or 6 stonks by market cap just surging. Not the rest of the market isn't, but the top 5 or 6 stonks are surging, and I'm like, shouldn't I just buy those and like stop like messing around? Like that just seems like the easy play. You know, buying T-bills and earning 5.25 is pretty easy too. But like, I'm questioning like, you know, that looks pretty easy.
I feel like this is the time period where, you know, the bears might get a little impatient, and both people could get potentially wiped out over the next 6 months. You know, bears been shorting, hoping this thing goes down. It doesn't go down. And then as soon as things are going up, you know, bulls pile in, and then maybe the rug gets pulled out under. I don't know. But I'm happy where I am. I have my allocation in each. There's a lot of cash building up, so it's not fully allocated, but I feel that feels appropriate for my level of conviction right now.
So, Steven, do you feel like, because you follow prices, right? And you're probably following the indices like the NASDAQ or the S&P, and these are going higher, but there's not a lot of breadth there, right? So it's like the big dogs are like leading the charge, and that's like dragging the index higher. Like, are you looking at the performance of NVIDIA, for instance, and being like, oh, see, that's bullish, so we're in sort of a bull market now? Is that like how you're viewing it?
I don't know. I think, like, if I could zoom out a bit, I think with a lot of people and us as well, we're getting very caught up into trying to predict the future. And I'm wondering if we're missing just looking at what is happening right now. Like, a lot of trading and investing is simply like looking at what is happening right now and just doing what is happening right now. I see like NASDAQ's up, what is it? It's like up like 38% off the bottom. Yeah, I get the breadth argument and everything, but at a certain point it's like, And I want to actually use that to just transition into what we want to talk about, because like, I do think there is something to this idea that there is this AI revolution going on, and we are thinking maybe with older mental models, and oftentimes these bull markets have catalysts that are very obvious in retrospect, and this seems like it would be an obvious catalyst, right? And it does certainly seem to be pushing everything higher. I mean, NVIDIA and then stocks like Microsoft that have exposure to Google,
It's
right?
not pushing everything higher. It's pushing 6 stocks higher.
Pushing
Yeah.
everything higher that
Pushes
is
the
in
overall number higher.
Yes. Pushing like these. So, but you have to understand, like, these productivity gains could also at some point trickle down to the rest of the, like, in the same way that the internet did. And then I get the timeline on that could be a little tricky, but yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the AI narrative. I know NVIDIA is up a ton. I want to buy some, probably nibble a little bit here, but I want to add. And I want to really like build up like an AI portfolio now. Like I want a very significant chunk of, like, I don't know, maybe like 30% of my investment portfolio to be like a super broad kind of portfolio of AI. And
Like
that
you want
that's
a piece
like
of the value, the whole value chain, ideally.
Oh my God.
yeah.
This sounds toppy.
Yeah. I don't think it is toppy though. Like these bull markets, like they go so far, right? Like a whole part of them is like there's just like this crazy disbelief. I don't have anybody talking about me about AI in my everyday life yet, or AI stocks. Like nobody's buying crypto. Nobody we even know who's in crypto is buying crypto, right? There is a lot of sideline there. I don't think we're in like inning 1 or 2, but like might only be in inning like 4 or 5 right now.
I think we're in very early stage with AI. So like
Zoomed out, yeah.
yeah, if
I
you're
agree.
talking about like buying into AI companies, but I also just see this as like AI is everything. Like all of these companies are going to be integrating AI to a certain degree. If they're not, they're done anyway. But I do think there are certain companies that are like directly correlated to what we're currently experiencing with things like NVIDIA that are in the same sort of supply chain process or partners with NVIDIA that are interesting to look at, that are reliant on NVIDIA, or just buying like Microsoft and things like that is really interesting. But I look at it and I'm like, this just became $1 trillion company. And for that reason, as a longtime holder, I'm out. I look at the discussions that we've had.
Wait, you're 100% out?
No,
Okay.
but I sold a lot of it yesterday.
Trim the trees.
much?
Like 30% of what I own.
Okay.
God,
I think
that
that's
is
good.
that is so
I was gonna
prudent.
tell you to sell 20 or 25.
And
yeah.
I was gonna sell 50
That's
because
too
I was like,
much,
this
yeah.
is the top, local top. And I was like, maybe tomorrow. But then exactly what I knew would happen, which was today was a huge bust.
Well, was that hard for you to sell at that moment? Because like, you know,
No, because I'll walk you through my like very basic thinking. Okay, this is like my non-professional trader's thinking. I have all of these things that I've been looking at when we've had these discussions of like what stocks, and I started to look at that and I said, okay, what's the valuation of Coinbase? What's the discussions we had? I think this could be a $300 million company. NVIDIA is currently a $1 trillion company. Upside, maybe $2 trillion company, $3 trillion company. That's a 2x, 3x over the same period that I think Coinbase could do a 15x to 20x. Simple math for me. I was out.
I think that's pretty solid.
That's a reasonable argument.
And
That's a
I
reasonable
want to
argument,
allocate
yeah.
some of it to ETH as well.
Yeah.
But for me, like I've been holding it for years. It made sense to get out. And same with Apple. I actually sold some Apple yesterday. It's at the all-time highs. That's good enough for me.
Can I make an argument for these trends? Like AI is clearly a trend that we're going into, and I've seen a few of these. I've seen social networking as a trend. I've seen mobile as a trend, and I typically frequent tech conferences, marketing conferences, and like mobile got to the point where it was a joke at every conference because people just kept predicting when mobile was actually impact bottom lines of corporations, like actually improve the bottom line. And by the 5th, 6th, 7th year, it was a joke, like people making these presentations on how mobile is going to impact. And everyone did have phones and smartphones, but it didn't until the iPhone hit, did it really start to click for everyone. and it became a running joke. And same thing with social networking, like MySpace started off, or Friendster, that happened, but it didn't take it until Facebook, had a really good timeline that people liked to use and started integrating it throughout the entire web. And it just reminds me that these trends, we often overestimate the speed of the impact. We think it's going to happen right now, but we often also underestimate the eventual impact. Like if we would have looked at those presentations about mobile or social networking at those tech and marketing conferences, we would probably laugh at them because they weren't fully appreciating the impact it would have on everyone's lives. But they overestimated how fast it would.
It's like that saying, right? Like we underestimate what we can do in a year.
Right.
We overestimate what we can do in a year. We underestimate what we can do in a decade.
Yeah, so we're okay. AI industry has been kind of in the basement for the last like 7-8 years, but we're first just starting to talk about this.
So I like that. I like that you're going like historical. And when I think historical with this, I think back to early internet, 1999, 2000. There was similarly a massive new tech euphoria, and stock prices followed that. But it also signified it was still early innings for a new tech, but it didn't necessarily just flourish from there, right? If Stephen was investing at that time, you remember what happened in 2001. Like everything fucking crashed. It became like water, went back to its normal level, and all these like internet stonks crashed. I think the same way all these like shit AI stonks will die too eventually. Like I think there's other parallels. Like right now the money is flowing to NVIDIA as like an AI narrative. Like this is the hardware component of the AI narrative for now. I think this is like a fairly common trend as well, where it's like hardware wins first, and then you go to the application layer in its next iteration of value accrual. Like the value accrued
those
to
companies don't exist yet.
Facebook and Google and stuff.
They'll accrue most of it for sure.
No,
like
I agree with you. It's like the AI version of like the app layer will be created 6 years from now.
Yeah, the DoorDashes that came with
and
mobile.
like NVIDIA is like the Cisco systems or something of AI right now.
Let's talk about one way I think this is different from the internet thing, right? So with the internet, all of the pipes, all of the infrastructure, it was just open. Like nobody controlled TCP/IP and everything. And I feel like with AI, there's this very real, like sort of like hardware-based infrastructure layer that has to be built out in a way that it didn't quite have to be built out.
No, not necessarily. I mean, we were laying broadband lines into the ground. Like there was just after 2001.
No.
Much
But
capacity.
how much value of the internet was captured by broadband lines? Like that's
exactly like maybe initially those companies were very valuable. But I'm telling you,
I think AI is so
continue.
different than that. And like I think with AI you have like these stages, right? Like phase one, I think, is this sort of build out of this infrastructure, converting all the data centers. There's this race to do that. And then we're going to sort of commoditize all of this stuff in the middle there. Everybody's going to have access to all these apps are going to come out. Everybody's going to start using all these apps for everything. And then ultimately there's some integration into the economy and everything in a way that like we can't really foresee right now. Right. But like right now, NVIDIA is obviously squarely in that hardware layer, right? And they have this like incredible moat because they've been doing this for like 30 years at this point. It's kind of crazy.
There's like no competitors.
Yeah, like it's kind of nuts. Like when I first saw the stock go up, I was like LOL bubble and kind of moved on with my life. But then I started like researching it more deeply, and man, it's really compelling to see why this company could become the largest company in the world in not that long of a time horizon. Now that's like a paltry 2 or 3x depending on what happens with everybody else.
I will say, man, their margins are ridiculous.
Insane.
They sell hardware, but they have software level margins. So their
Over
gross margin is
30%,
70%. Right? I think Salesforce is around 70 to 75%. So that's insane how much pricing power they
Well, I
have.
like that you're talking about this because I was looking through the financials today and I caught up with their earnings call. I was underwhelmed significantly by their financials. Like this quarter that they just reported, that was up sequentially 19% on revenue, quarter over quarter, but it was down year over year. And I think the trailing 12 months revenue, operating income, net income, all down from the previous year. Revenue maybe flat, but like operating income down by 50%.
Or did you pinpoint where that was from?
They talked about it in the Q&A. They said that it is supply constrained, but like I'm looking at this as like when you trade at 37 times sales, you better be growing, bonkers. I think this is limited by two things. One, it's sheer size. Right. Like you can't, like law of large numbers, you can't just like double $1 trillion very easily. And then the other thing is the supply constraint. Like how are you going to grow into these expectations?
Well, I think we have to assume that like their implied growth rates, that what analysts are thinking they'll grow at, implies a lot of capacity growth, which is basically Taiwan Semiconductor's capacity growth. They have to grow with it. It looks like they are significantly investing in capacity, but it takes 3 to 5 years, if you're being optimistic, to set up a semiconductor plant. So I don't know what their capabilities are, but they're certainly like a top 3 customer of TSM. What do you guys think about this argument? OpenAI's model was one of the first large language models. It's probably pretty large. And over time, in order to be good enough for consumers, these models will not need as much compute power over time. Like the software, the learning, whatever you want to call it, will get more efficient and require less compute power. And we're at the point where these models are large and clunky and maybe need it, and they're using hardware at the in the server room. But eventually, these things will get smaller, and that will get pushed to the edge, which is your iPhone or your laptop, and maybe potentially running these models on other types of hardware rather than on an AWS machine or an Azure machine. I don't know. I do think there will be some innovation on the model front where they're like, we don't want to buy $50,000 chips or whatever the price point is, and don't want to use as much GPU usage, and we can learn how to provide 98% of the value with half the compute time or compute usage, and that innovation will take place, and TSM will take its proper role in the value chain and will reach perfect competition sooner than later.
My initial gut thought on this real quick is that this is just similar to energy, where there's just like an infinite appetite for it. And even if you are kind of consuming energy more efficiently, you just can always transform energy into something useful and productive, so you consume more of it. My initial gut reaction is like the same thing will sort of happen at a high level with this stuff. Like we're not going to reach some efficient frontier and be like, well, that's all the knowledge we can compute. Now let's make it efficient. I don't know. I could obviously be very wrong on that, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, to kind of like, this isn't directly what Nick said, but just as an anecdote to what you're saying, Stephen, it's like we acquired 2 more rigs for Steno today, 10 GPUs total. And we were like, okay, we could like, where do we put the energy? Like, how do we spend this energy? And there was like 9 ways we thought of like using it. And all these things that we were holding back on doing, they were like, now that we have this energy and the compute power, there's all these things that we can do. So I do think that's like a basic, almost like reaction people have to when something is abundant and unlimited. Yeah. There's ways to allocate it. But I hadn't thought about what you said, Nick. I had not thought about things moving toward the edge like that into like smaller devices away from like the original hardware.
It's an amateur take because I don't know.
I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah,
You're the new techno king for a reason.
Yeah, new techno king.
What do you mean the audio didn't work from jump?
All right, so are you guys? I mean, does that make you bearish on NVIDIA long term at all?
Not bearish. I certainly wouldn't short the fucking thing.
Okay,
but I'm happy.
Do you guys think this becomes the most valuable company on earth?
Okay, so I want to add my opinion here. I think like where I'm at is I'm bullish. I've been holding this company for a long time, as long as you have, like 10 years.
Oh,
I've ridden it.
Just telling me today, partner, we should be popping a little.
No,
come on.
I like even I don't know how long ago it was, but I was dating Jen Polk, you guys remember, and I remember telling her
I remember that era.
I remember her telling her, I was like, okay, this is the best company in the world. This is going to be the biggest company in the world. And
That's what I said to Erica.
it became like our largest holding in our portfolios. We've like, enjoyed having that in our portfolios, but price matters. Like, what are you paying for this thing? That matters. And like right now, how it's priced, I don't see a world where like this price makes sense,
Yeah,
and that
same.
matters.
See, this is what's interesting is like as a holder, you're looking at this and you're saying that. And as someone who, I think you said you had a little, but you wanted more, you're looking at it in a completely different way. And we tend to find the argument for our bias. Like that's just what it comes down to is like your holdings or your lack of holdings are going to dictate the narrative that you tell yourself. And you have to be aware of that sometimes. I could be lying myself. Steven could be lying to himself. We could all be lying. But it's just a way to sort of like sort of make the next step and the next action okay to our minds. So I think what Nick, like what you said, Nick, when you go down and you sit down and you look at your allocations, like that's the most important thing here is like, did I plan for this or am I like FOMOing into something or FOMOing out of something in a way, like reverse FOMOing?
Did you guys happen to catch Kathy Woods
Yeah.
Bloomberg?
It was the most obvious
video?
like cope ever.
Well, so I was actually thinking
I thought it was
she didn't
obvious.
I
cope.
didn't see it. Can
Okay.
you TLDR?
So it's a 15-minute interview, and first question, Kathy, you've held NVIDIA.
Oh, she sold it.
She
didn't
sold
she?
it.
Yeah, she bought
forgot
it.
about
I mean,
that.
she's had it for a long time. She
No, but she
went
missed
in
out
heavy
on
at like
100.
100.
50%.
Well, she went in
gains.
heavy at 100.
Yeah.
They were in all the portfolios.
Yeah,
She
she did
sold
well
around
with it.
January-ish. So she sold to like, I don't know, 330 or something.
Her timing was just slightly
And
off.
but she didn't, to me, she didn't seem like she had any like regret in her voice. She was like,
No.
listen, these things go in cycles. I remember the last run. You switch from hardware to software. We said
Yes.
we looked at the relative valuations between other AI companies. It got way out of whack. She goes, I know you don't believe we look at relative valuations here at ARK, but we do. And
That's good self-awareness.
and she was like, it just got way out of whack. And we pivoted to, she mentioned a company called UiPath, like other software related companies. She mentioned Meta. She still claims that Tesla is actually
She
the
said
biggest.
Tesla is the best AI buy.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't hear a lot of cope. I heard her like, no, like we plan this like transition, and
That's all I
sure
was
we
saying.
missed a run up, but
she missed quite the run up.
for sure.
But like I think she still gets it right in the long run.
But they sold all of it, I think,
I know.
which is fascinating to me that they sold
Fascinating.
Always
all
leave a
of
moon bag.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, always leave a moon back, Kathy. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
True D-Gens knows.
So
I mean, I'm a big Kathy fan.
So I want to know. So you're bullish, Nick. You bullish? You buying Nvidia?
Nope, not buying.
Okay, so I think for Armand's sake, like
I'm leaving a moon bag.
this is the best way to play it for our sake. Is that we hold the common. Like you sell calls against your shares. Like the bids on the calls are absurd. Okay, so expiring this Friday, people were bidding on calls up to 650 strike.
Oh my god.
In 2 days.
Expiring, well, not yes, starting on Tuesday. So in 4 days.
That's a lot.
And for that to occur, those people are betting on NVIDIA to add the equivalent of $650 billion of market cap in 4 days, which is Meta. Like that's adding a Meta
But how
or a
much of
Berkshire
a
Hathaway
premium are you
in
getting for
4
that?
days. Those were like $40.
$40?
Yeah, like
There's
people
no
are.
way.
It's DGen.
There's no way.
It's
There's
DGen.
no
You can-
way.
you're
I
saying
refuse to
turn
believe
his-
this. Like
For
a
that.
9 sigma move.
Dude, I've been selling all the way. I'm selling
And I just
calls
and
at
I just
500,
sell-
550,
I sell my
570.
common if
Oh my
if
You
You
just
transfer
deliver.
it
You
to 'em.
deliver your shares.
please sign me up for this.
Yeah, that's the way.
Please sign me up. My
Covered
God.
calls.
Covered calls.
Goddamn. All right. Well, I'll bring this home with one thing I'm planning on doing. So there's this guy Citrini on Twitter where he sees it going, and then it has Excel sheets with all of the companies, all of the sectors, all of the relative weightings. So you can literally just plug and play a portfolio from this, save yourself a lot of time and energy. You don't have to put it all in NVIDIA because that's the only stock you know, and hope it goes up. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on scaling into this portfolio that is distributed across like a huge basket of companies, covering not just the different sectors, but like the different phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of how this is going to play out over the next however many years.
I mean, is there not like a good ETF for this already?
It's possible, but I would.
It probably wouldn't
doubt
play
it.
the phases very well.
Yeah, I would
It wouldn't
doubt
be
it.
as, expert specific.
It'll be
to
easier
this.
than what I'm
Yeah.
doing for sure. I just really think this is like a thing that
you wanna
we
get in.
should be exposed to.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind, early internet didn't mean easy riches. It did for a little while, and then it sure didn't.
Yeah.
I think even if this is the internet, though, we're not even like close to the top of the first thing, you know. So I'm not putting 100% of the portfolio in tomorrow. I'm scaling into it over time, but I think having no exposure right now is for me anyway.
And you like
that's a
small
bad
caps. If you're gonna play it like this, you like the small caps better, just like the faster horse kind of.
There's everything in this: small, medium, large, and they're weighted appropriately. Like this is like a really good report. I already went over it and everything, so it's
Nice.
pretty pristine.
Are you
if
gonna
people
link to
want it.
this?
Yeah. Can we link to that in the show notes or
You sure
something?
can.
Yeah, I
Are we
will.
get an affiliate link? Because people
Fine.
got to shell out $50 to sign up.
Oh, really?
All right.
I thought it was free.
Any closing thoughts before we move on, guys?
Well, I want to hear how rich people feel they are for their
Okay.
age bracket.
All right. So
uh,
I guess we are.
yeah.
By the way, before we do that, I'm seeing in the chat that we're having a lot of buffering issues.
What is a buffer?
The playback stops and
Yeah.
then it
What?
catches up.
So
Yeah. All right, noted.
Ooh.
I don't know if Jordan can wave a magic wand over there and fix that.
Well, we tried
But-
to use some new streaming technology.
Yes, we are using new technology. So
I'll have to watch the replay to see what that looks
yeah,
like.
we'll figure it out. Sorry about that, chat. Hopefully it's
Oh,
not
like when it
too
slows
bad.
down and kind of
Yeah, it like stops and then like kind of buffers.
I don't
and
like
goes.
that. I like a good crisp 1080p
I
of
know.
your
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure that out. Good to know. So yeah, there was some interesting data, right, Nick?
Yeah. So
and
we found some data about your net worth and where you compare.
Yeah, how rich are you?
How rich are you actually? And are you, I think the most important thing is, are you where you should be for your age? So we have some median net worth data for your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And we'll go through them all. And it could be used to measure up where you are. It could be used to, figure out what you need to do from now till when you actually retire. Found some data from these two financial advisors. They have a group called the Money Guy Show. So you can check them out at moneyguy.com, check out their data. But essentially net worth, just as a quick reminder, it's everything you got minus everything you owe. So, all the cash in your bank accounts, all your crypto, all your Pokemon cards, minus your debt, minus the mortgage you owe, minus...
Pokemon counts, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'm rich then.
Highly,
Are you
highly
Pokemon
liquid
guy?
asset.
No.
that would have been a funny reveal, though.
I think it's important to say that this is monetary wealth. There's like,
Oh, that's sweet.
there's like health, there's like relationships and
wow.
stuff. You could feel rich in a lot of different ways, but I feel like we're talking about monetary.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think
That's an
it's important.
distinction.
It is important.
So let's go through the 20s
'Cause
first.
you're like, I'm the richest health fuck here.
Not me, man.
I mean, you're in pretty damn good shape, dude. I want to see your Murph score though.
I did a half
Get your
Murph.
Murphs.
I did
Did
a
you?
half Murph. Yeah.
What's your number?
I didn't even do a half. I did a half Murph throughout the day.
no,
Okay,
get the fuck out of here. Can we take a quick side tangent?
Yeah, I
on
want
the
to.
Murph?
I want to come
Yeah.
back to the Murph. Actually,
No, we're in the Murph. We're in the
Teaser.
Murph.
Let's just do the Murph.
wanna
Let's
do the Murph?
Yeah.
Dude. So the Murph is one of you might have a better explanation for the historical context.
Lieutenant
of what this
Murphy.
is. Lieutenant Murphy, great war hero, right? Would typically I forget where the 20 pounds piece of it comes from.
You will wear a weight vest.
Right. Okay. So this guy was a beast. And a Murph is a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, air squats, and then another mile run. And I think what really got us pissed off about this is that we heard Mark Zuckerberg did it with a 20-pound vest in
40
40
minutes.
minutes.
Sub 40 minutes.
Like-
that is like top 0.1% of athleticism. I mean, that fitness level is
I had no
unreal.
idea.
So this
I
guy's
thought
turned
he
into a
just sits
beast.
behind a desk.
He's turned into a beast. He's been winning
That's what
jujitsu
happens when you're a
competitions.
billionaire.
But I gotta say, I'm
I?
impressed. So I did it on, what was it, yesterday morning? I can barely walk right now, but it took me an hour and
You're
19 minutes.
literally, you need a cane.
Yeah. Yeah, that first
You have
step
the
from away
funniest
from the
walk
desk
to
is
the bathroom.
Yeah, those
that
first
I've
couple
ever
steps are
seen,
rough.
and you're in incredible shape. So
Yeah, so hour and 19 minutes. So I didn't do it weighted either. I didn't put
Yeah.
on a
No,
vest.
fuck the
So he
weighted.
did it in 40 minutes. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to get mine under an hour. See if I can get close to him, and then we'll throw the vest on for funsies.
I didn't even bother doing a full Murph. I was like, that's going to be way too much. So I did a half Murph.
Is a half Murph a half mile?
Yeah, like half mile,
Half mile,
50
50,
pulls,
100,
100, yeah,
50,
150,
okay.
half mile. I did it in 35 minutes. So I think I'm going to be right around where you are, Nick, depending on how fatigued I
I heard
get.
you get faster in the second half.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I know.
There's
I have
only
to- I
one
was
way
just
to-
making
you
sure I don't
gotta
die on the
do
full Murph. So gonna do the full Murph and come back to it. But wait, you can't spread it out over a whole day.
Well,
then
hold
you
on.
don't get tired.
Hold on, I have kind of a take about this. I find it quite pretentious of us to like do this Murph. I find
Do a
it
hard workout. Pretentious.
No, I think it's like okay. In one way,
Interesting
you're like
use of the word pretentious.
you're
here.
like honoring this guy. I respect that, but then I disrespect how like this guy's a soldier, not like a professional workout guy, you know, like, and I don't like how people just are like comparing themselves to a soldier, you know, based on their fitness levels. Like that to me is like, well, no, this guy's way more badass than doing 150 pull-ups or whatever, you know, like that part didn't feel good to me.
Where
I
was
can't
the
I can't
part-
do a full Murph. I'm not saying that like
Yeah.
this is why I didn't do it. I'm just saying that I did a half Murph over the course of a day.
I didn't even catch that part of it, that people are comparing in that way. I didn't pick up on it at all.
I think it's all part of the
I looked
honoring
at it
of
as
it.
honoring.
It's hard.
Full honor.
It's an honor. Yeah, it is an honor. But
Full honor.
I don't know. I
And
find it
it's
a
just
little
like a bit
cringy.
of a I don't get that. I didn't feel that, but just to me, it just became like a fitness meme. It's just like a way to deliver a bite-sized workout and share it with people and be like, "Where are you at in that? And what's your score? How fast can you do it?" And if anything, it got me like excited, and I felt like it was just a great workout. The reason I brought it up in the group chat was because we have a guy in EO who is a SEAL or was a former SEAL, and now he runs a fitness studio, and he was doing it to raise money and for charity. So like he invited a bunch of EO people to his studio to do a full Murph, and was like, you know, do what you can, do a half Murph, do a quarter, and let's raise some money for this charity related to the Murph Found, not the exact Murph Foundation, but for him.
Well, chat saying that
remember his hydrofoil thing with the American flag?
in the sunscreen.
Yeah, that didn't like
Yeah.
inspire that he can kick my ass.
He's been doing Muay Thai as well.
Hydrofoil.
Again, billionaire status.
Yeah.
You have life staff. You have your jiu-jitsu coach. You got your person that like rolls you every day. Like,
Okay,
how
if
are you
Zuck-
not going to be a
If
badass?
Zuck
amazing.
joins like featherweight MMA, like all respect is reacquired. Like
He's winning. He's already there. He's already winning jiu-jitsu competitions.
no, let's go into the UFC.
The fact that he could just literally murder you isn't good enough for you?
I don't think he could.
I think his kicks could
my
improve.
God.
I think his kicks could improve, but his jiu-jitsu looks pretty
I bet
solid.
you'd be dead in like 14 seconds.
Wow. That is it. That is like
seconds?
one of the
You
most
wanna
worst.
Have you ever done
I think
jujitsu
it'd be
against
faster
somebody who
personally.
knows jujitsu? It's like the most,
He's smaller than me.
dude.
It's true. Like,
I did it.
magic
I had
wand.
a 100-pound woman on top of me, and she just made me look like a useless sack of potatoes. I've never felt so
Tied in a
emasculated in my
pretzel.
life. No matter what I did, she just like,
You had a 100-pound woman on top of you that made you look like a useless sack of potatoes.
yeah, like she could have killed me 9 different times, choked me out like 15
This is
different ways.
so-
It's unbelievable what like people can do to you. It's crazy. It was so humiliating, but also inspiring.
This was not the bedroom, right?
Can you go like 8 seconds without thinking of oh my
I'm
God.
just verifying the situation here.
The part that I had an audience didn't tip you off?
Nope. I mean, people are into that.
Oh my
little
God.
voyeurism.
Well, I've completely lost my train of thought.
All right, Armand, bring it
That
back
was,
around for me.
that was for that reason. I wanted to bring it back around to the data. Wanted to,
Okay,
reduce
good
the
luck.
blood
You're
flow
gonna
from
you're
your
gonna
brain.
segue back.
Yeah. All right.
Just
Nick,
drove off the road.
Yeah, where were we?
you're good. Murph's over.
Okay, so we're gonna go through 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Yep.
I'm curious, where would you guys put the average or the median net worth of someone in their 20s?
Negative $4,000.
Yeah, definitely negative.
Well, I cheated. I already looked.
Okay.
I didn't look.
Well, I mean, most people in their 20s have something like, I
I
don't
would say
know,
like
30
20,000.
grand in like student loan debt.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
average? So someone in their 20s, median net worth is around 7 to 8K.
That seems high.
Yeah, I was gonna say
8K.
20K.
8K seems high to you as
Yeah.
a net worth?
Net worth. Well, because think about the student loan debt, credit card debt. That's typically when that starts.
Yeah, Amber's net worth was probably like negative 130K in her 20s. Like,
I'm so fucking
Negative
privileged.
4K
First
is
of all,
a-
I'm so privileged. I had that when I was in, like,
I'm actually
8th grade.
shocked that people. Okay, so this is including everybody though. This goes up to 29. Maybe you. Yeah, maybe towards the end of the curve there, you pick up some stuff, but I don't know. I feel like if you're like 24, you're absolutely wrecked. Like, I feel like there's no way the average 24-year-old has like
I
positive.
mean, the
net
only
worth.
thing they have going for them, someone in their 20s, is just time and the power of
Yes.
compounding,
Yeah.
right? Like, so like you don't necessarily need a lot of money. You have the best
You just have to
resources
get
available.
started.
Yeah. Where would you guys put someone in the top 10%?
Of 20s,
Yeah. Net worth. What is the top 10%?
top 10%, 75K.
Like, what do you think this person looks like? The top 10% in your 20s. You're
A
like,
tech
tech worker,
a tech
iBanker.
person with a big 401k,
yeah.
stock, Google stock.
Wait, this is top 10%.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Or
now
you're
I'm
just like
top
a
10% of 20
software engineer
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah,
saving.
software engineer.
50K.
132K.
Oh wow.
Ooh, I
Okay,
win.
They're coming
Okay.
for us.
Okay,
that's
20s.
pretty good.
I like
That's
that.
pretty good.
Okay. Let's move on to the 30s. This is when you start maybe potentially bringing on some more liabilities, home, family, child, all that kind of thing. Median income is like 52K.
Oh, I thought we were gonna guess.
Well, so let's guess now the median net worth.
Hold on, median income,
Oh, median
52K
income.
from a 30s.
In your
That's-
30s.
This must be like, that must represent like median income
do
for
not
the
live in
United States.
California.
'cause
Yeah,
that's
so
like,
not to give away the whole thing, but like this number kind of like transpires throughout age because it just everything levels out.
I'm really trying with this data, but I mean, this is like not only is it across the whole country, but it's like an entire decade.
Yeah,
of
it's like all over the
people.
place.
It's like from 30 to 39. Like it's just like so broad.
It is.
But to play along, so median net worth,
Yeah.
median net worth, 70K.
Anyone? Higher, lower? $1, Bob?
I'm gonna say 100. No, yeah, 100K.
I cheated. I looked.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at this earlier.
It's $44,000.
Damn it, I was gonna say 50
And
initially.
I think a lot of it comes into play like you
43?
$44,000. You tack on like a mortgage and you tack on a kid in your 30s and
you
can
paid
see
off
how-
your student loans.
Yeah, you start to pay off your student loans. I could see it.
Okay, let's like skip up to 60s.
Wait, why do you want to skip?
Well, we're only going through. If you were listening, we're only going
Are
through
you
40s
really
and
excited?
50s.
Yeah, I want to get to the end. I just want to see where this is going.
There is no end. 60-year-olds don't matter more than
I
the
feel like
40-year-olds.
that's probably peak though.
I feel like peaks. It probably peaks.
Like you start drawing down your
It peaks
stuff.
in your late 50s because in the 60s you draw down.
Yeah, exactly. I think like around 60 is it.
Napoleon
it peaks.
Hill says the 50s are your best decade. 50s and 60s.
So,
Says getting older
the
is
40s
good.
is kind of
does that
when
guy
you
know?
kind of like have like a make it or break it moment in your like financial life, right? Because
So
you
wait,
start-
what? Your 40s?
Yeah, in your 40s, right? Like, are you going to be a good saver and a good investor, or are you just going to kind of like continue to live paycheck to paycheck?
You guys still have a
and-
few years to decide.
Yeah. So median income, median net worth for someone in their 40s is around 144K. Which let's just take that.
Hold on, that's the median income?
Medium net worth.
Oh,
Medium net worth is 144K, which is a lot of money, especially if you're saving off a median income of 57K.
57 is the median
But
income.
you're potentially 20 to 25 years away from
that
retirement.
sounds scary.
It sounds scary.
You got
So-
some kids running around.
It's good to see that the median net worth increases significantly from your 30s, from 44K to 144K.
Yeah.
But like still pretty
Yeah.
far off from being able to like, I don't know, live off 4%.
Shit. I mean, that's like asset appreciation. I would like attribute that to probably like 10 more years of owning your home, paying off your home, and contributing to your 401k, et cetera.
Now the top 1% are over $1 million. They're like 1.1 million. In your 50s, it doesn't increase that much. 181K is the median net worth of someone in their 50s in the U.S. If you're in the top 10%, it's 1.9 million. And so let's just take the top 10% of someone in their 50s, 1.9 million. Okay, you draw down 4%. Is that enough? Is that enough to replace your income? And people always say like, well, I want to earn 60% of my current salary in retirement. And I'm like, I think you got it wrong, brother. Like, you're going to spend more in retirement. Like, instead of being at your job every day, you're going to want to do stuff like hobbies, potentially. You're going to want to
No, people
go
spend
play
less in retirement.
No, you're going to want to play golf. You want to spoil your grandkid or your
No,
nephew.
the kids are gone, dude. That's the other thing. Kids are
the
gone.
kids are out of the household.
And you kind of just don't do that much.
I think you're
Okay.
speaking for like what we want. Like, yeah, you want like your retirement age to be like fun and high spend and get to do all the things you want. But for most people, that's why they invented these retirement tools and tax deferred, vehicles and things like that. Because, yeah.
And I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily argue that net worth is a good measure. Like, are you ready for retirement? To me, it's all about, well, how much passive income are you generating or could you generate from that money?
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's got their own different ways of doing it. We obviously went in the last episode, my preferred way, but still, that's you got to be your ability. And maybe no one actually retires. Maybe you got your side hustle or something you do to keep busy that could potentially make money on the side. So net worth is not the end all be all. It's like a balance sheet snapshot. And what you really want to know is like, is your cash flow statement, is your P&L going to look positive, on a personal basis going forward? But I don't know. Do those numbers surprise you? Do they seem surprisingly low, surprisingly high?
I'm like kind of
Are we,
surprised
because
at
we
the
live in San Diego,
skew.
are we just warped and biased?
Yeah. Well, the absolute numbers seem like ridiculously low as someone who lives in San Diego. Like
That would be rough.
like I can't imagine being in your 40s and your average net worth is like 100K in San Diego and you have like a family. Like, how would you ever retire?
Or, well, maybe
Like,
your income is
like,
higher, but you're just not able to save because it's just going to keeping the lights on and keeping the kids fed.
Ugh, yeah, I don't know. So that's the spread is insane too. It's just like 10x, just average to 10th percentile. 10x is like a huge difference. Like 10th percentile isn't like that high up there.
Right.
So that's a huge gap just going from average to 10th. I think it's just interesting having that like mental shift though. Like I always thought of wealth in like in absolute terms. Like when I was in my 20s, I was like, I want to have $20 million. But in reality, if you're like 21 and you have like 300K, you're basically a billionaire, But you don't think of it that way. And you really underestimate how much time you have to compound and like the effects of that over multiple decades. So I think it's like a good like mindset shift for somebody who's younger and feels kind of poor, is to kind of reframe it as you versus your peers. I think that's like useful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like, none of my financial goals are to have X amount of dollars. Like that doesn't seem like actual practical to me. Like my financial goals are like in 3 different bullet points. Like one is the amount of passive income. So I don't really care how many dollars makes it. I just need to cover a certain amount every month. 2 is an amount of cash buffer. So you have your passive income coming in, but shit comes up. And also just having a certain amount of cash bank account makes you feel emotionally stable, confident, safe, like whatever that feeling is for you. And then 3rd, if you want to have a home, not as an investment, but as like a consumable, and you want it to be a certain amount, then you need to be able to pay for that home. Like whether that's, put a massive down payment, buy it on all cash, afford it as part of your passive income, whatever that is. I think it's like a nice to have, thing to buy a home that you really want. And so I don't know, but none of those like comes into fact, like how much total dollars, in your personal balance sheet come up. But it is interesting
the other
to do.
side of the coin of how much passive income you want.
Right. Yeah.
Like you could look at the math both ways, couldn't you?
You could. I mean, obviously you got to
Like,
take.
I need to get to this level of net worth to achieve this level of passive income.
Right. I think that's kind of like the standard model is you like use your net worth to generate passive income. Nick's model is to like
Just focus
buy it
on-
along the way
Yeah.
and to like generate it.
Yeah, I agree. Like
forever.
most people say, okay, I'm going to build up this dollar amount and then I'm going to turn on the income stream. And I don't think it
Yeah.
necessarily works like that because when you turn it on, you're probably selling some stocks, you get fucking taxed, and then you have to find good income streams. But sometimes those income streams take a few years to grow and actually be fruitful.
Or what if it's like an environment where T-bills are yielding 0 at the time you want to turn on the faucet, Right.
Your municipal bonds, while they still may be decent, are not going to necessarily produce that cash flow you need. So I like the path of like building that passive income along the way if you can.
So I was thinking this, like, you know, I think we're all pretty privileged in that, like, we feel like we're doing pretty good on this scale. But
I don't look at that as privilege.
okay, well, I know I'm privileged, but
I don't.
well, I know I.
Do you want to
that's what I'm
stop this
saying.
conversation or have a 3-hour debate on it?
No, all I know is that I know that I am.
I mean,
but
do you want to?
let me get to my point.
Just feeling out the room.
Let me get to my point. My point is that, like, we're using this tiered system because we sort of presume that retirement occurs after that 5th decade, like in that 6th decade. But like what I see now is that like people are healthier and more able-bodied to work longer. And like my whole thing is like work doesn't have to feel like work. You know, like I'm literally hiring retirees right now. I'm on the board of our local tennis club, and we're hiring retirees to do the early hours at the tennis club and just like, you know, do like a very easy job. Just like be a monitor on the courts. And like, look, you guys love tennis. You guys love being here. You're here fucking anyways. Just like come do a couple hours at the front desk and then go play. And like, I think these people are very happy doing that in their 60s or whatever. And it's like, I think that's like, that's okay. You know, like if you're not at the high end of this range, fuck it. Like it's going to be fine.
That's good alpha, because I think those are some of the happiest people in the world. Honestly, I know someone who says that when they retire, they want to be the person at the crosswalk at the school, like just like, you know, holding the stop sign and letting the kids
taking
cross,
care of kids,
taking care of kids.
You
being
ever?
around.
So I
like that's fulfilling.
You guys ever know, like, I don't know, have the moment of realization where you're at point A and point B is acquiring some amount of wealth. And then point C seems to be this like slower, calmer, I don't know, less abundant lifestyle where you're like, you know what? I just really want to spend some time doing some art. Or, you know, maybe I'll work at the tennis club. And it's like, well, you could just go from A to C.
That's very
instead
Tony
of
Robbins of
A,
you.
A to B
Yeah,
to C.
yeah.
You know,
Why even need the B if you could just go
A
straight to C?
I don't know.
And live this cool
thought
life.
about
It's
it.
the Mexican
I get too
fisherman
much-
parable, right?
I get
We
too
did
much
an episode
anxiety
on
over
this.
it myself. I don't know if I could do that, but
I think a lot of people like us in particular, like type A people that have these like things that they want to work on, believe that is a grass that is greener. And I've thought about this question since we did the episode, honestly. And I've thought about like bringing it back up and saying we should revisit the Mexican fisherman parable.
What episode was that, by the way?
Early. I want to say like 15, 20, like around there. And I think it misses something in that it uses a platitude that is incredibly true to illustrate for many people what life could be if they stopped the struggle of trying to make ends meet and trying to make it in order to one day get to that point that they get to be the fisherman.
Episode 19, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
lovely.
That was right there between 15 and 20.
Yeah, I nailed it.
Was it 19 or was that far?
that was so early.
Wow, that
we
was
were in
early.
Armand's living room at that point.
Oh, wow.
That was a high-tech
Oh my God,
setup.
it's gonna be so fun to look back
Look
at
how
the
far we've
episodes
come.
and do like a montage. That'd be cute. So like what I think it highly productive and go out and create some big enterprise that is very meaningful, who wishes they were just fishing. The person that wishes they were just fishing is fishing. Trust me. We know those people. They exist. That's what they're doing. And they're the guy at the beach who wakes up and surfs every day and doesn't worry about it and doesn't struggle to make like it happen. But the person who's struggling in life to make it happen, I believe is doing it not because they need the dollars and a certain net worth. I believe they're doing it because that's what creates meaning for their life. And if you look at books like Man's Search for Meaning, or not Man's Search for Meaning, The Denial of Death, like that is the purpose of these projects. That is the purpose of why we struggle to create something beyond ourselves, to attach to our names that's meaningful, to know that you left the earth better than you found it. Don't get me wrong. A person that is just here spreading joy and fishing is also leaving the earth better than they found it. That's a beautiful contribution.
That's
to
good,
smile and be happy and grateful and hold up the sign and be kind to people. But if a person in their 30s and 40s and 50s chooses to be industrious and work really fucking hard to build something that's meaningful to them, I say you're the fisherman just as much as the other person.
Well
is.
said. God, that's badass.
I've been thinking about this a lot.
Dude,
'Cause
imagine
it
like
fucking left me feeling like, what am I doing? You know?
imagine telling like Kobe to like, no, just chill out, man. Just go fishing. He's like, no, I am fishing, dude. Like this is my fishing. Like working out every 6 a.m., 3 a day is that's my fishing.
And look at the contribution. He created an example of what hard work looks like and showed us that like practice is the game. Like you have to love that grind to create greatness. And he showed us an example of greatness and documented it. And I think that's just as powerful as being like, I think I'm good and you're plan C, Nick. I think it's the same thing for a different type of person. A type A person is not going to be happy knowing that they're fishing and they haven't earned it. That's what it comes down to for me. If I'm doing something that is like a hobby or leisure based and I don't feel like I've earned it, I'm miserable. Miserable. But when I work really fucking hard and I get to go on a great trip and I get to open up an expensive bottle of champagne or a cognac with you guys and I feel like, man, I worked hard for this, I am so happy. So happy.
Well said, man. Well said.
That's beautiful. I feel like I'm living out the parable of the Mexican pickleballer right now.
What's that parable again?
How's that parable go?
Somebody should write it. It would be a real banger.
That would have been really
I think
good.
we get
I've,
ChatGPT to fire this bad boy up real quick.
Padel was created by a Mexican, so I don't know if pickleball was.
It's not as funny though.
It's not as funny.
Not as funny.
Oh,
It's not as funny. But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm
Can somebody
doing
in
a couple
chat
things I love a
please
lot
just
and
throw that
still
up?
working and there's
So you're
There's a
doing a good
balance.
job of that.
I wish my work was a little less money focused, and I would always work. Like even if I completely made it, I would not play pickleball 9 hours a day. Like I would still need the work component. But right now, the work component to me is still like resource acquisition. And if it weren't that, like it would be more just I don't know. I would like maybe like help people more or something.
Well,
like
I think
that.
this is where you and EJ are really good at being balanced in working hard and having this hobby that you put time into. For you, it's tennis and athletics in general. For you, it's pickleball pro. I think that's great. And I think that if your career is in a place where you can allocate that time, you should. Like, then you get to experience the benefits of both things. Me building a startup, it's just very difficult to do that. And Nick is running this huge enterprise. It's probably difficult to do that. But you do your thing. You play golf. You make art. Like
Nick's
you make time
Nick's
for the
doing all
things.
right. Don't feel bad.
Yeah,
For him.
yeah. I'm just
But
saying
he's
it's
still
probably a
anxious
little
at the golf course.
No tears in the chat for Nick.
Guys, I need to leave
Help
a
checking
hole
stats.
early.
Checking stats.
Oh man,
was
all
good.
right, that's good shit. I liked that.
Oh, by the way, shout out Paradox is actually joining us for
In the
this.
building.
Oh my
Yeah.
Love that.
goodness.
Hello.
What's
Hello,
up?
Emma.
We got a lot of
We've
incredible people.
we've had a few
joining
more
us.
people come in the Discord, and I feel like we should maybe mention it again. Like if you hear us mentioning some people, you don't know who they are because they're not here in front of the camera. All the fun is actually in the Discord. So if you go to alfalfapod.com and you can go click on the link there, join the Discord. Feel free to lurk too. You don't necessarily need to be a big shout outer there, but that's
Yeah.
where this community really lives. That's where all the fun is. I think that's where most of the alpha is.
But we've had a few lurkers convert to
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
happening.
We're
Coming
moving
out of
people down the
bushes.
pipeline. It's like a sales process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy
like
to see it. Happy to see new people join.
So Basil tried to ask ChatGPT to pull the parable from episode 19. She said, sorry, it didn't work. What she doesn't realize is that's what Steno AI is going to do. So I'm really excited to show people that.
Okay,
it's gonna
I
be super
actually
cool.
bet it would be kind of funny if you prompted ChatGPT to rewrite the parable of the Mexican fisherman
Yes.
as the parable of the Mexican pickleballer.
Yes.
That sounds
Name
amazing.
I think
Steven.
I have a
Remember the
I have a
King
feeling it would be
James-
like a good
Remember the King James toast or whatever, the one that really went viral in the beginning from ChatGPT?
yes.
That was like one of my
That
favorites.
was
This reminds
amazing.
me of that. This would be like a funny ass version of that.
Yeah.
People stopped having fun with ChatGPT. Have you noticed
I
that?
know, I guess
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
serious.
I leave for productivity now. You know, like, what can I freaking build? Like, Auto GPT, go. You know, but like all the fun was in the first few week, like sending jokes
Yeah,
and like what can it
poems.
do? Those are all
poems,
gone.
yeah.
I
Have you
missed
noticed?
those first weeks. Remember we
No
were
one has
we,
written a poem in
we were
months.
at the bar just writing limericks.
Yeah.
And showing them to the server, and she was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
We're like, "Oh my god,
Begins
so cool."
with entertainment and then it becomes very serious.
Can we get drunk again at reading club and I don't know, write poems to each other again off,
Yeah,
off
do you still
ChatGPT?
go
That
there?
was great.
You still a member?
Yeah.
yeah,
could
the
you-
rebill's hitting every month.
go.
Could you
Invite us.
invite your friend? I'm gonna search the group chat for the last Nicker Bonnie
Oh,
invite.
It's
to
an
the
open
reading
invite.
club.
You just say, "Let's go," and we
I
go.
made it a soft suggestion. Steven had to go one
Are
deeper.
you guys still on the waiting list, or
I believe in being direct.
thought about reapplying.
Hoffman got in right away?
Hoffman thought about reapplying.
Hoffman got in.
Hoffman got
Bailed,
in the
left San
moment he
Diego.
applied? What happened to you guys?
thought about just coming up with a new name.
Apply as your wife.
Armando Gonzalez Jr., the fisherman, the Mexican fisherman.
I'm a
I
pickleballer.
thought about it, dude.
Yo,
was
I
like,
figured
I
out-
am the man the Mexican fisherman
I know.
parable is based on. Bring me to your club.
Armando.
I
So,
will
yeah,
give you
the-
all the stories.
Reading club is like a, I don't know. Would you think it's like a Soho House but
Yeah,
better
it's like a Soho House, but
for San Diego?
for San Diego,
It's just
yeah.
mostly around drinking and reading.
Oh, it's the
like
best thing we have.
leather-bound books
It's
and
by
good
far the best
cocktails.
thing.
Jordan's
Only
been there.
Well, that's
You know,
the,
We brought
there's
Jordan
like
for his
two
interview
things,
there.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
nice.
nicest thing we have in San Diego.
I know. Yeah, we should
A little
totally
too
go
nice
there
for
again.
me.
Yeah. Sorry,
I figured
pal.
out why I didn't get in though. It's because I
Hold
was
on.
thinking about. I was
Camera
thinking
to
about
Steven,
this.
please.
He's been analyzing this.
It's because I was thinking back. I was like, oh my god! It's because I mentioned NFTs on my application.
why did you do that?
I
Why
know.
did you
I was
do
like,
that?
in retrospect, I was like, that was the dumbest thing I could ever done. But I was, yeah, I like mentioned like
Oh,
Web
yeah.
3.
I'm
and
a
stuff.
finance hedge fund manager, run crypto
Yeah,
and
they were-
NFTs.
They read that and they were like, nope. Yeah.
Should have said professional pickleballer. They would have taken you right in.
Oh my god.
Nah, I feel like they would hate on that too.
What
like-
did they like? They liked David's.
They like art.
They
David's
make art. They let
application-
in all the artists.
Like
No,
art.
no. David
He
posted
posted
a
a picture with
photo
Mark
with Mark Cuban. That's
Yeah.
why they let him in.
I know Mark Cuban.
That'll do it.
Got it.
Gallery.
Well done on your
You were
fraud,
there.
everybody. Well done on the fraud. Oh, by the way, before we go to the next topic, I realized we forgot to talk about the lovely booze that Nick brought us, which is how we said we are going to open the show, but we're not really
Well, I'd
good
like
at
to-
this.
What do you want to talk about?
Yes.
Hey.
What am I
Splash
what am
me
I what am I
Splash me
drinking?
up while we're there.
What am I drinking?
Okay, so this is
Tell me.
an añejo tequila, and I will say that it's doesn't get as much love. It's actually relatively cheap. So for the bottle of añejo, I think it's $70. And essentially, my father-in-law, my girlfriend's dad, like bought it for me, bought me a bottle, please.
It's not a father-in-law until you get down on a knee, sir.
Yeah, he said essentially his
Essentially.
I'm not going to allow it.
My
I'm not
legs are
going to
a little-
allow
I
it.
mentioned how sore my
Proposal
legs are.
I
incoming.
showed you the move, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you the move.
I'm not going to allow it, you guys.
You go left or right. You pre-decide, and then you just pop. It just
that easy,
drops
huh?
down. You just do it.
All right, noted.
He's very stiff.
I would
doing
fall
Murphs-
over for sure. I would do
Murphs
both
every day.
at the same time and just
Armand, you want to read out the label there?
Yeah. You mean like the handwritten
Yeah,
part
just
here?
the name,
Okay,
and like
so
the.
it's Maestro Double Dobel. This is produced in limited quantities under the supervision of a master tequila distiller. It's 100% agave, of course, distilled in 2019, made by Juan Dobel, blended by a great name here, Alejandro Coronado.
But-
and yeah, it's got a bottle number, a date, a ranch.
Maestro Dobel. So, we've had a lot of good tequilas here, a lot of good añejos, but I
Nice
would put that
añejo.
up against most of them.
Dobel. Okay.
40%.
No, it's good.
It's smooth,
It's
right?
good.
Yeah.
Very smooth.
We learned a lot about tequila a couple weeks ago at this good guy's birthday because we learned about the whole distilleries and like we found that website that lets you
Fortaleza
show
tasting, yeah.
Fortaleza, which has always been a favorite tequila of mine.
And I appreciate it so much more now after hearing like,
Yeah.
small family production and
What was the website
site,
for the tequila?
I wrote it down. It's
like-
like Know Your Tequila.
No, it
something
was
catchy
something
like
else.
that.
Like I don't know, but we'll drop it in the show notes. But yeah, it lets you.
No, you won't.
Basically,
You're not
I'll think about it. It lets you isolate all of the tequilas by brand and see the distilleries where they come from, and then you end up with this kind of weird picture of the tequila world. Like you go and you see that like Clase Azul, which everybody's like, oh my god, ding, ring it, and it costs like $1 billion. It
TequilaMatchmaker.com. Is that it?
TequilaMatchmaker.com.
It was not
Yeah.
that far off from KnowYourTequila.com.
It's like the other
literally as close as it
across
gets.
the ocean. But yeah, this stuff comes from the same exact distillery as the tequila you could buy for like $30, and then you realize, oh my god, I'm just getting scammed by marketing and stuff. So it's interesting to see which tequilas come from like their own distillery, and then like how all of these kind of
And it
sexy
talks about
brands all come from the same
additives,
place.
what they add,
Yeah.
the things behind the
What
scenes.
is Casamigos come from its own? Because that's the one I reach for most often. Casa,
I bet no way.
Casa Repo.
That's a celebrity
no,
tequila.
they had a few when I looked it up,
No.
and they've
You
also
get- yeah.
maybe gotten so huge now that maybe they just bought one. But in the beginning,
Comes
for
from China
sure,
now.
They just
None of
yeah,
these
for sure they
celebrity
just went down
tequilas
there
are-
and he was like, "Hi, I'm George Clooney. I'd like to make
There's
a
no
tequila."
land. They can't start from
But it was
scratch even if they
fascinating
wanted
that
to.
it's so highly regulated. They have an inspector every day.
Every day.
And they rotate through the inspectors to make sure that you're using the agave plant
Mm-hmm.
and that you're within the region so that you can use the word tequila.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating.
And he alluded to like some of the processes that are old school that they no longer use, but he said that's how they make mezcal. And like that's what I personally love about mezcal is like it is made in a very traditional way still. There is no like mass produced mezcal as far as I mean maybe some of the big brands that are like mass
Oh,
produced
they'll
but,
be
like, in
there. Don't
general.
worry. As soon as it gets popular.
Yeah, but they're holding on to like kind of the traditional making methods. Cool. That was a great little.
Are we going to get into our goat segment?
I'm ready.
Yeah,
We haven't had a goat segment in a while.
let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did goat. We did goat.
No, we did
human
the
beings.
goat. Like
Yeah,
Goat
we
of
did
goats.
the
Goat.
goat human being
That was
of
one of my
all
favorite
time.
episodes.
Goat of goats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a goat of goats.
I'm really
Who's
glad I
the
won
greatest
that
human
one.
being of all time.
Yeah, yeah, you did so good.
What was yours? Like Melvin Greenfall or
Yeah,
somebody?
don't worry about it.
Alan Turing. That's what it was. Definitely got the least votes.
No.
You had a great argument though.
I
I'll give you that.
respected going out there.
Then we did goat movies, goat series, and
Wait,
we
did we?
liked
Was I
this.
not there for
Did
that?
we do goat
Yeah.
movies?
Yeah, we did goat movies and series.
You
yeah.
did it by yourself?
No, we did it. Remember?
Those
What are you
dreams.
talking about? Game of Thrones, I think was
We did
yours.
series.
Yeah, but that's not a movie.
We
Movies?
did movies and series.
I don't know. I think he made up the movies part.
Okay, so we just did series?
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I prepared for the movies
All
part.
right. That's cool.
Anyway, we're here for
Can't wait for that segment.
goat tell me.
Inventions.
Wow.
Inventions. Hi.
Wow.
It's good tequila.
Way to prep.
Well, the bottle's gone, so
So let's like maybe discuss some of these a little bit, but then land on like one individual preference that we all have.
I want to
in
talk
one
about like
submission.
what. First of all, what qualifies as an invention? Like this is a thing that came
Oh,
up in the
boy.
Discord today. We were
Oh, you primed everybody already.
yeah. There was a good like chatter going. Like immediately somebody came up with fire, and we were like, all right, fire's pretty
Invention.
good. That was pretty useful. Is that an invention?
Oh, hold on.
Wait, of course. it
Hold
is.
on, because
no, I would say no.
I had a
Absolutely not.
modification of that, but it's not fire because fire's not an invention.
What
Fire's
are
a
you
nat-
talking
fire's
about?
a
Fire's not an
naturally
invention,
occurring
yes. I agree. Armand is just
chemical reaction or
absolutely tripping
whatever.
right
It's
now.
like a reaction that occurs
Christ.
naturally. So
believe this right
the
now?
invention. I don't want to derail what you're going with, but there's an invention that you can.
is a
talk about.
lighter an invention?
A lighter is
Yes.
a type. It's like a way to control fire.
yes.
Okay.
First of all, I want to see what the chat thinks. Is fire an invention, or is Armand obviously wrong?
I like how you phrased that question.
Yeah.
Slightly leading.
Thumbs up in the chat if Armand is obviously wrong.
I like that.
like the video. Like the video, please.
I think
Armand is
fire is a
wrong.
discovery, right?
So hold on.
That's
like-
insane.
It's like
That's
saying that
insane.
Columbus invented America, or Leif Erikson,
Guys,
as Basil
There was
pointed out in the Discord today.
There was a lot required to take it from just looking at fire when lightning strikes and going, wow.
Harnessing it.
To harnessing
Yeah.
it and doing something with it and cooking with it. And then it literally enabled
So,
the
like-
entire evolution of our species.
Wait, did
So
we just
it
blow
could
up?
be-
I just blew up his pick.
No,
That's
no,
why he's so
because I
mad.
had a pick
No.
that's related. So what I think about fire is that like you can create fire, but you can create fire in a certain number of ways. You can create fire by friction, or by spark, or like using a magnifying glass, like a lens. These are ways to create fire, and I think that using the spark method has changed the construct of humanity.
All right, chat's in agreement. Fire's not an invention.
But
We've
like
been overruled.
but like the
Couldn't be more
creation of like the spark version of fire is in every figment of our lives today. like how you use an igniter to create fire is an invention.
The process could be the invention, as
Yeah.
Tyler
Yeah.
Like
mentions. In the
lightning
chat.
can strike. You can go out in the wild,
All right,
and
yeah.
then there's like fire burning.
Electricity.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, let's move
not an
on.
You know?
I wanna move on
Like you
from
don't walk out
semantics.
into the Serengeti and you're like, oh look, a light
I
bulb.
want to move on from it too, but electricity is not an invention then because harnessing it is not enough. It was already there. Sorry.
Little bitter.
It was already there. It wasn't even my
Wow.
pick. I think that's ridiculous. It is clearly a human invention. Just because the energy and the molecules and the matter existed and the experience of it existed does not mean that it's not an invention.
Too many thumbs up in the chat, bro.
So-
You've lost.
I mean, I like it. Keep the thumbs up.
I
coming.
can't wait till we give
I think
him.
electricity is an interesting one, actually.
It is the same argument.
No,
it's
it's
a
not.
very close argument.
Nah, fire is obviously it's just there. You know, you just walk
Okay.
out and then there's just fire in the woods. It happens all the time. Whereas
Wow.
like electricity, I don't know. It's a little more nuanced.
What else?
but-
Is there any other questionable inventions? Because I think we
yeah,
can
like
be
what
clear
makes
on
an
the
invention
semantics of an
great?
invention.
Is it great in that it has moved humanity forward? Is it great in that like
Yes.
if you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have it, you would be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Like what would I was thinking about what invention, if removed from our daily life, would like literally
Yes.
regress us away back
Yeah.
like 500 years.
Okay, so I was thinking about that too, and I agree with that. But what about the ones that like act as the building blocks for the other invention? Because like there are ones that happen along the way that like lead to outcomes, but like they did the heavy lifting. I
that
think
was kind of my argument for Alan Turing.
Yeah.
Right. Like he
Yeah,
created
yeah.
like the base level technology that then
Right.
spurred on. So
So-
yeah, I guess I could get behind that.
there's part of that. But I think as I was thinking about it, I was like, if something makes your invention obsolete, then it can't be good. Like
All good points. All right, I think we should come back to some of these. I think we should start throwing some stuff out there now.
Can we throw out some of the like most common ones?
yeah, let's get some low hanging
Very
fruit
common
just
ones.
out of the way.
The wheel,
Printing
Yeah.
press.
Great one.
printing press. Everybody's
Great.
gonna say printing press.
Great one.
Couldn't be
Electricity.
more of a goat invention, though.
I have
Incredible.
more
agree.
good
I think
inventions.
it's
Printing
up
press
there
might
for-
be the one for me.
No,
Okay.
well, I'm so
Oh.
glad you said that. Now I can dunk on you later.
I think Instagram's up there.
Get the fuck out of here.
I wanted to trigger Armand. He didn't say a word. He's
what
like
about-
stewing.
Sometimes
He's actually just.
some of the things that Steven says can be so shocking that it takes a while to just takes a while
Armand's-
to recover. You know,
Armand's
It's just
reeling from the
it's just
printing
a
press
lot
still.
of recovery.
This man just directly
Time.
insulted me and then moved on.
Can't wait to dunk on the printing press and your selection for it. Okay,
Yeah, Armand's reeling. Okay.
Stay tuned, Chad, as I dunk on the printing press.
I like it. Just keep liking the video.
We should have led with
What are
this.
some other like super common?
what about,
ones you
like,
think people
Condoms.
say?
Ooh.
Ooh, I had that too.
Contraception. I don't
Underrated.
think is a common one, but I
had
think that's
condoms.
worthy.
I had
Wait, it's like a
condoms.
good invention?
I was
had
actually
condoms.
wondering if you would bring that up.
I had condoms.
Never heard of him.
Are Jesus.
Worthy of consideration,
Nick's like worst.
but that's not in like the wheel category. Like
No,
people aren't like,
no.
oh yeah, the wheel. Condoms.
No, but it's pretty good though.
Like an invention that gets in the way of like everything that you ever wanted.
I mean, 100.
It's just the
I mean,
worst.
100% electricity is up there, and it's exactly the same as fire because it required harnessing something that existed. We're gonna move on though.
What if we say alternating current?
Yep, that's up there. Okay, vaccinations.
Yeah.
That's one I had.
Yeah, like penicillin.
I would subsume
penicillin.
vaccinations.
Penicillin almost in its own category though. Like vaccination.
What about just medicine?
yes.
Like medicine itself is an invention, and it is a enormous one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
enormous.
vaccination and penicillin, I just want to say I put in two different categories because penicillin is like a true antibiotic.
Penicillin
Like,
also
that was, like-
borderline discovery. This was another one that came up in the Discord. Like, was
Interesting.
penicillin actually an invention,
Right.
or was that
it's like a.
also discovery?
It's like a what is it? It's like a bacteria that
Oh God,
already.
I
I
hate
leaned-
this focus on like
I
the
leaned toward,
semantics.
but I
is where I think it
leaned
gets too
toward.
great.
I
I
hate
leaned
it.
toward invention there. I
Okay.
think that's fine.
So
just invention.
what I think about
Fire's not an invention though.
Can
That's
we
ridiculous.
get started on like actually talking? Because like let's use medicine as the pivot point. Because like when I thought about medicine, I was like, okay, that's good. This is like a reactive measure to health. But I think like what has a bigger impact is like a preventative measure to like poor health. So like for me, it was like sewage treatment or like water purification.
God
Bro,
Damn
that's
it.
mine.
Wait, are you fucking serious?
We
Yo,
all
everybody
said-
here brought plumbing.
I have plumbing. Wait, is
knew
that
it.
yours?
I have plumbing.
Please tell me that's not yours.
No, my number one isn't plumbing, but I had it on
Oh,
there. I
fuck.
knew you
I
guys
have-
would all be on the plumbing train.
I think
read
plumbing,
you like
indoor
books.
indoor plumbing and sewage is probably the most underrated, overlooked.
I
probably
totally
the most
agree.
overlooked invention of all time.
Dude,
you guys ever seen the castles where the bathroom is on the edge of the top
And it just
you
shits
shit
down. Okay, so I was
Yes,
looking.
I had a book as a kid that had diagrams of it, and I used to just look at it
Just
like,
shit
what?
down like
Dude.
6 stories, and it all just lands in a pile of dung like you're a cow.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then some
so-
surf,
One, you
just
gotta go-
shovel it.
They
shovel
shovel.
it,
Even
Throw
worse.
it in the water, and then we all
Like,
drink it and die.
medieval.
Literally.
I think
Literally.
that's like medieval England, but I think like 1800s England.
They're
they
just
would,
tossing it on the
They
street,
would
right?
shit into a bucket and just throw it out their top story window, like onto like the road.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this out of the way. What else? What other
wild.
reasons do you think like plumbing is the goat? I mean, we're talking about the greatest of all inventions.
Oh well, I know why it's the goat for me.
I
It's
think it
because
made
I
us-
have a fucking wife who would never shit under any other circumstances than what we have today. Like I camp and stuff, so I'm used to shitting in wilderness and stuff. And Mina, there's no chance.
It's a good test because if you removed it from our current society, it would feel like
She just wouldn't go.
I think like life
I
expectancies
think
would
it
decrease.
made
we'd
us
go back-
civilized in many, many, many ways where we actually, it's gotten to the point where we're really removed from the number 2 as a society. I think for the better. Like it's just this thing that like some people don't even talk about. It's like almost taboo.
Except
And
when
I
the
think that
squatty
that-
potty came out, man.
I
Those
think
viral
that's-
videos
yeah,
were fire
for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that it's only so taboo because of indoor plumbing and the sewage system that works for us. If it was just like in your face, literally, you smelled it everywhere you went, it would just be part of life and like something that everyone just deals
No,
with.
but there's like a health component to this because
I was
Yeah.
just focusing on that.
Yeah,
The health
yeah.
component is probably even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was talking to my dad about this. We went out to lunch before our pod, and I asked him this question. He goes, "Man, I was doing Scientific Magazine was telling me about the old what is it called? What are those little wells that you shit into? What is that called?" Well,
Wait, what? An outhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, fun
Citrine or
fact.
whatever?
I had an outhouse growing up. I had an outhouse.
Exhumed the
Literally took a shit
Roman
in it.
ones from like ancient Rome.
No cap.
And they found like evidence of like ringworm and like really, really sort of insidious stomach bacteria in these latrines, I guess. Like, so people were dealing with like awful health problems due to like poor sanity.
I think it had like extraordinary economic impact, right? Agriculture.
Okay, agriculture is the one that we haven't brought up yet that I actually think is bigger than plumbing.
I have it
I
written
think
down.
plumbing would be the one where immediately we wake up and we miss it. But then very soon, if there were no agriculture, we would.
I have farming written down, but I also have something else written down that's like so funny. It's like unique to the Cicero lineage.
I would just go back to being, gather hunter without the agriculture.
All right, so we're done
paleo
on plumbing. I
lifestyle.
feel like I think we made like a good case for. There's others,
Yeah.
but like environmental impact. If you're a big environmentalist, like the ability to like make sure sewage doesn't get in
I have
water, rivers, oceans.
one. Refrigeration.
Oh, good one.
Is it that big of a deal?
Yeah, it was a huge.
I don't
deal.
know.
Like a world where nothing.
Yeah, should
could
we go
be
into some of the
kept,
more peripheral
like,
ones?
More than
Can I bring up something that
day,
Steven just brought
yeah.
up? Steven brought up farming, but it's interesting that right before recording, his brother works in this office.
Mhm.
Steven's brother works in this office as well, and Steven's brother
Oh,
was
boy.
adamant about talking to me about this man named Fritz Haber. You familiar?
wait. He brought Fritz Haber up.
He brought Fritz Haber up.
I brought Fritz Haber up in the Discord today. Fritz Haber invented the process for ammonia that is used to create fertilizer, right?
Wait, so yeah, tell.
Hold on, no, you tell. You're the freaking Cicero with all this Cicero knowledge.
I think it's actually fascinating that it's the most random thing in the world. Like I go in the Discord and check the receipts. I was like, well, I didn't say Fritz Haber. I said Fritz what's his face. 'Cause I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, he created a process for extracting ammonia
from nitrogen
from
gas.
nitrogen gas in the early 1900s that basically led to us being able to feed the world
Yeah,
in a way
so
that
this is
wouldn't
like
have
how you
existed.
create fertilizers, and that led to the explosion of farming, which like led to population growth.
Wait, so you guys were just fucking around before we started, and you were like, "Hey, what are we gonna talk about today?"
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
to
yeah.
Inventions, and he throws that out. off the top of his head.
little Cicero was asking what we were
Wow.
going to talk
That's
about.
so
And he
funny.
brought Fritz Haber right to my doorstep,
That
and he
is so
even shows
funny.
me the Wikipedia page. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to Google that real
And
quick.
he's not in our Discord, so he didn't. Why isn't he in our Discord?
know.
actually?
No,
Familial
literally your
dispute-
dad's.
What a little-
it's
what a
like your
little-
dad coming
because you're
through.
in
What a
there.
little shit.
What's your dunk on the printing press?
Oh, I have a
Such a
greater.
piece of shit.
I have
you know,
a greater
technology.
invention than the printing
Just
press.
disseminated
That
information for the
subsumes
first
the
time.
printing press.
I didn't
Do you
have
know
to
what it
sit
is?
and copy by hand.
Paper. Incredible invention. Without paper, a vast amount of human knowledge would have never been transferred. Right? The ability to write things down on paper like enabled this like the keeping of books, which originally had to be written by hand, but there were books. So the printing press built upon the incredible invention that was paper and allowed us to produce more books in a more cost-effective way where they didn't become luxury items. But the invention of paper itself was like the true game changer. So the invention of paper subsumes the invention of the printing press.
But I think I
that's
stand
like-
on my principle where like if new
what does chat
tech,
think? I love that. I just have a jury
hold on,
now.
if new tech makes old tech
Are you
obsolete,
gonna be
then
the guy
paper
that
doesn't
just
matter.
panders to the chat?
Yes,
like-
I am gonna be the guy
totally.
that
What
panders
does
to the
chat
chat.
think of my commentary? My
What do you
latest
think, chat?
commentary.
Paper or printing press?
Please plus my latest commentary.
If new tech makes paper obsolete, then paper sucks. I think that's how I feel about it. So like, you know,
Yeah,
today,
that was your whole thing, right?
yeah. So
No one's
today,
mentioned
New tech doesn't get there in the first place unless human knowledge is able to be rapidly transmitted via paper.
so this is a bit of a paradox, Emma.
Computer makes paper obsolete.
Absolutely, paper can't be the GOAT invention if a computer's better and it's invented.
And it's untouchable, unbreakable, unlosable.
All right, but you know what
better in every
really
way.
trumps paper? Scissors.
But
Thank
not
you.
wrong.
Any like obvious like not
No
like
one's
goat.
mentioned the fucking internet.
I know.
No,
So-
Not one of us.
so-
I have
no,
one
real
related
quick.
to the internet that is super important that I think is the paper to the printing press, and that is the semiconductor.
Okay.
Good
Boring. So
Okay, worthless.
before I want to hear a proposal for your number one, but it sounds like for both of you is already
Plumbing's mine.
Plumbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any like random amazing inventions that are not like GOAT, like literally greatest invention of all time, but ones that we haven't mentioned. Like
Oh,
just
I have a
generally we don't
weird
think about.
one, and
Flashlight.
Nick might like this. The shipping container.
Ooh, love shipping containers.
I bet you do.
I don't like.
Standardized unit that could be sort of like, sent back
Throw
and
what you
forth
like in
across
it.
boats, put on a train. It's like a thing people don't think about ever, but that has actually played like an enormous role in global trade. Not saying it's
You
the
wouldn't
greatest.
have a shipping container if you didn't have steam engine. Originally.
Okay, like we haven't mentioned engines. Engines are steam engine
But
starting
the
point.
engine
also
for
great.
me is
I
like
was just throwing weird ones out there.
the engine for me is like goaded by the idea that you can ignite fire with a spark. Like that enables everything. Otherwise, what'd you do? You like rub two pieces of fucking wood together?
Yeah. Rub it.
Steven, you had a
I created a
prompt
fire in my pants.
that was pretty good. It was basically like, what's an invention that we all take for granted that we could like easily go without, right? That was one of the prompts you
Oh,
mentioned.
that we couldn't go without. I think.
Couldn't go without.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't go without.
couldn't go without.
Oh, I have one we could definitely go without. That's in every
There's a-
single home.
Which one?
There's a lot of
Okay.
stuff we could go without.
It's in every single home. It's easily replaceable. Every other home has like 1 to 2 alternatives, and it's actually marginally like
Television.
beneficial. The microwave. I think the
Oh.
microwave is
Oh,
like
yeah.
something that could just
Yeah.
go away. Good invention, made things more convenient, but you can use a stove.
I
a pan,
rarely
oven.
use the microwave in my own home.
I have an
to be
air
honest.
fryer
thing
now,
called
which
air
is
fryer.
pretty
Do you
great.
guys use one of those?
I
Yeah.
have. Okay, so my oven broke like 6 months ago, and I never got it fixed. And instead, I bought an air fryer, and I still have a broken oven.
So I'm a big toaster oven guy.
I
but
don't
haven't
own a
used an air
toaster
fryer.
oven.
Toaster ovens are.
Well,
very
I have
good.
the
I
combo.
toasted
I have the toaster oven
bagels
air fryer
in my
combo
air fryer
Breville.
the other day. If
What?
you're interested,
There's a combo.
Yeah, links in the chat.
air fryer is actually like a really interesting
getting the hang
invention.
of it.
It's super good.
I'm a natural
It's
now.
super good at what it does. It's very cheap.
Yeah.
Like everybody I know
mean,
who
I
has an
tell
air
everyone to
fryer
get off-
likes an air fryer.
Every time
a
I
lot.
walk into a friend's house and I see the stupid toaster with just like the 2 little bitch slots for
Yeah.
pieces of bread, I'm like, you need a toaster oven, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you need actual. You can. You can
bitch
literally. and you can't fit anything in there. And it's like you buy some sourdough bread and it's just slightly too large and you can't fit it in. You can't do anything with that thing. You can't put anything in flat.
It's
It always has to
literally
go
just
up
bread.
and down.
It's just
like
bread.
just bread. It's like created in probably like the 1950s in like Minnesota, like to just like toast white bread. And now you can't do anything else with it.
I'm picturing like Steven still using that. And he's like, this is the best invention.
Okay, so I have my goat one though.
Okay.
My second place was indoor plumbing and sewage. But my actual goat one is, of all the things that humans have created, you have to think like, I don't have much of a preamble for this, but this is what it ultimately comes down to. It's like we've created tools that enable us to make our lives better, cleaner, healthier, create longevity, or just like automate a workflow that was very manual before. Like that's typically what the greatest inventions do. And of course, some of the ones we've talked about, like the printing press, which is obviously like definitely a top, alongside like electricity and fire and all these other.
No argument.
But I
here.
actually think that by far,
That's a strong call.
we are going to see in our lifetime things that I think are going to astound us. And already what we are seeing, even at the beginnings of this, is you have to even just try to apply a little bit of basic imagination to the idea that what we are creating, if it is a general intelligence as well, this is a replication of the human being. This is basically the same thing as cloning. We are cloning the human mind, merging it together into one infinite source of knowledge and information that is accessible and will be accessible by every human being on the planet instantaneously. What could possibly come closer to that? It's exponentially better than the internet. It is the internet. It is an infrastructure for the internet.
I would argue, and you could feel free to disagree with this, that anything that sort of like subsumes the prior thing, that it couldn't be created without it, it is by definition like greater.
There's two ways to look at this argument, right? You either go that version or you go the version where everything is based on the founder.
And you're also being
So
you're also being predictive, by the way.
Is it which part of the tail? It's just a tail, and it's looping around in a circle, and you're just trying to find the beginning or the end. So I agree with that. I think you either go to the most advanced technology that exists today, or you go to the most fundamental technology that exists, which is obviously fire.
I got another triggering question for you later from the chat.
But that's it. That's my take.
Hold on. Let's
Okay,
go.
can-
Let's
can-
go
wait,
into that.
I
right now.
actually
Yeah, I
want
wanna
to
go into this
explore
one.
this. I want to wrap up the GOAT one first, and I think that actually Hookem in the chat, he redunked on me because he said without writing, paper is useless, and then
Without
somebody
language.
re-dunked on him and said without language. So I actually think that if we agree that language is an invention, which I think it is,
Yeah.
Yes.
then it is maybe the greatest.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you want to
maybe the
go to
greatest.
the
Ooh, that's
deeper
pretty good.
core, yeah.
That's pretty good. I want to do an offshoot of that because I think it's like a associated. I'm not trying to say this is better. I'm just trying to say it's associated. But like I think that the first forms of written language was actually like an accounting metric. So like money is a form of language.
Is math
Money is a good
a
invention.
form of language? Is math an invention?
Yes.
Yes.
Math is a fucking good
I feel like the
invention.
math is how we'll communicate with like
Pretty- And if you
extraterrestrial.
And if you want to
Freaking
go to
important,
the
yeah.
fucking core, even before there were human beings, there was math in the universe. So
Just a discovery. Just a
is it
discovery.
just a discovery of what exists? I think
right.
so.
I'm satisfied with that. I like where you went with this. This was actually a thought I had in my head, was that we could say, what is going to be the greatest invention in the future?
It's
Like
AI.
200 years from now,
Oh,
when the
beyond?
Alfalfa pod is on its 9 millionth episode and we're all 200 and
We're all AI
something.
chatbots.
Yeah.
Continuing the.
What are we going to say has been the greatest invention of the last 200 years?
So like even just the joke Nick just made, right? That's not a joke.
Right.
Wait, what?
No, Armand
The
already
joke-
took one of
That's kinda
our
rude.
best buddies podcast. You might know of them, and they were chatting, and as a joke, he created a.
Oh, by the way, I played that on the
David
couch
and
with
Ryan?
Amber. Yeah, I played that with Amber last night. She's
Yeah.
like, "That's a weird episode."
We made a
but did she
AI
say that's clearly an AI
No,
episode?
I was like, "Did you know that was made up?" She's like, "What?" No, she had no idea. She thought they were. She was like, "I thought they were just joking around."
Yeah, no, we made an AI little like segment of David and Ryan talking about dog coins and cat coins.
Dog coins versus cat coins.
Versus
It was
cat coins.
hilarious.
And like it was
That's
hilarious.
good.
It's like a 3-minute clip or something. And I'll send it to David. And I think we did last night. And I don't know. Maybe he'll put it out. It's fun.
Put that in the show notes.
At least put it in the Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're right.
But
That's
your,
not.
your joke, which was not even a joke, but just like this passing comment of like in 200 years, we'll be here. It'll be an AI version of ourselves. First of all, will it be an AI version of ourselves? Will it be our biological selves? Will it be this original brain that's still here because we've introduced technology that like, okay, if we're talking about future inventions, what about slowing down aging? What about living forever? What about uploading the invention of being able to upload your brain and memories into the cloud and continue living? What about becoming a true cyborg? How close are we to that? We're so fucking close to all these things. So, like, or will we not conquer longevity? And what we will conquer is just simulated AI versions of these beings today, these physical beings that are talking right now. And will there be a difference? Will it be recognizable? Will it matter? If you live in a world surrounded by AI beings, will it matter that I'm talking to AI Eric, in the future? No,
Probably not.
It's the same. Ray Kurzweil talked about this on Lex Friedman. You know, he was talking to Lex about like how important it is that, the philosophical implications of living on beyond the physical self and how important that is. And will it actually be different to people in the future? If your children's children are having a conversation with you, is it really that different? What is it to be human actually? Is it just the physical part of the brain? Is it the meaning, the ideas, the emotions that you put out into the world, the way you make people feel? These are all very interesting philosophical discussions. So I think that the things that will come in the future will astound people, but it's all based on the exact technology that we are in the middle of today. I don't think we realize how important and how impactful this is, what we're experiencing.
I think you're right. I mean, we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, like you can overestimate how the timed impact, but you will always underestimate its eventual impact. But how do you reconcile the potential downside of that invention, right? Because
It definitely comes with
there is
that, too.
downside, right? You could be like, well, that's also the thing that ended the human race. So, like there's a probability to both sides. So how do you reconcile that? Do you think that just the upside is so much greater, higher probability, or maybe it's a lower
think both
probability?
tracks are going to run at the same time. Yeah, I think we've seen that and witnessed that with other great technologies. That they're double-edged swords always. I mean, I have a question for you guys. Would you guys have signed the AI warning, sort of like if you were one of these thought leaders that was asked, would you sign the cautionary note to put a pause on AI? Like if you were individually asked.
No.
I don't think I would have.
I don't
And
really
I kind of
care.
think AI might destroy us too.
No, but you have to put the hat on of like you're an expert in
No,
this.
yeah, I don't
which I guess
care
is
just
hard.
because I don't think it doesn't result in whatever you want it to result in on either side. So like I don't necessarily
You don't
care.
think that it's resulting in like there's so much media talking about it, people are looking at it more closely. Like it takes people pushing the pause button and signing something even as silly as that is to get people to stop sometimes. And I think they are. I think people are really taking it seriously now. More than they were.
Do you not think it's just completely out of the box? Like it seems ridiculous to me to think
I
that
do think it is
it's-
completely out of the box.
Yeah, so
Max Tegmark talked about this, that there are a few core basic things that if you want to make sure AI does not go out of control and kill us, that we should do. And we've done them all. We've done them all.
well,
Teach it
okay.
how to code,
game over.
give it access to the internet, and there was a third one that I don't recall. But like the moment we gave it access to the read-write ability, the auto GPT aspects, which are already out there, but the access to the internet, the ability to read, write, change information, and move on its own with its own motives. And we talk about human alignment, AI human alignment, and things like what Anthropic are focused on. But like, is it too late? I mean, might be.
I want to do like a big futuristic episode at some point where we like predict what 200 years from now looks like, or even like 90 years from now looks like.
I'm
fun.
thinking that 20 years from now, we're the old conservative old guys being
Yeah.
like, remember when? I think it's going to look quite a bit different. I don't know how,
I think you're right.
but I think just day-to-day life will be different than we're used to.
Yeah. I would do
Back
that
in my
episode.
day, I had to type with my thumbs on my phone. I'd be like, okay,
I used to think
Grandpa, let's put you
blockchain
to
was
bed.
important.
Oh, dude, you guys want to take a moment of let me give you some nostalgia. I was talking to my barber today. We were talking about like the Hollywood video versus Blockbuster wars. Remember being a kid and just going down the aisles of like Blockbuster or Hollywood and just like picking out a movie based on what was available physically on the shelf. Imagine telling like a newborn child today, like that's how I got to decide what I got to watch that weekend. No on demand, no digital, no streaming, no internet.
Please
just
be
what was
kind and rewind.
there. Yeah.
And
And
they had
you
that-
had to rewind it,
they actually
or
had, like,
else the
a
guy working
like a
the
secret
teenage
adult
boy,
section.
the teenage boy at Blockbuster had to sit and rewind your VHS for you. Oh my god!
Yeah, they had those high-tech, ultra-fast rewinding devices where you
Yeah.
put the tape
All right,
in.
we're already those
Oh
old guys.
god, it's already happening.
I love thinking about that.
Did you know that like Blockbuster had created a streaming service
Mhm.
and it was basically
what?
destroying Netflix? And at one point, Reid Hoffman was like kind of begging to be bought out, and then I think the board or something like killed. Like, there's this myth out there that Netflix came in and just destroyed Blockbuster and they never changed and they went bankrupt. But they were actually able to create a competing service that was like eating Netflix's lunch with their like economies of scale and how big they were and everything. And I think something at corporate just killed it and ended up killing the company. But like the CEO at the time, I think, was actually very proactive about it and saw it coming, and they actually had a thing in place. And Netflix was like pining to get it bought out at one point. It's kind of crazy how history gets rewritten.
Right.
I don't know where I saw that. Please look it up. Anything that comes out of my mouth as a general rule.
Could be
please
Do you
hallucination.
guys trust? Yeah, like do you guys trust most of the stuff you're coming across? I want to go a little bit
Well,
deeper
did
on
you guys
that.
see that this lawyer submitted a brief to court, and he clearly used ChatGPT because ChatGPT referenced other court rulings that didn't fucking exist.
Oh no.
It didn't exist. So he's referencing case law that was completely made up, submits it, and the judge is like, "What? None of these exist. These are completely made up." Got caught, probably getting reprimanded by the bar of whatever state he was in. But this happened like on a professional level of consequence, where the guy basically,
way.
copy paste his homework and
What if is ChatGPT just that like overly confident guy in the office who just
No,
acts
that's
like
Bard.
he knows anything? It does
It could- I
everything.
mean,
it
it
just
could be, it could
rises
be.
up the ranks, and
No,
nobody
no.
ever.
ChatGPT is a giver. It's a kind giver.
I don't know.
Apparently he cites
Bard's
fake,
pretty epic.
case law.
I'm up on my last Formula One race bet because of Bard's
yeah?
mathematical capabilities, which ChatGPT cannot.
Wait, Bard can do math?
Bard can do good math.
Wow.
Bard can settle some betting lines for you.
Oh, so you had it.
Yeah.
What did you do exactly?
Well, I was like, hey, what are the betting lines for this
see
Formula
it.
One race?
Literally.
He's
You know,
doing the Mr. Burns
like,
fingers.
What did you have it do exactly?
if it rains, like, what are the how do the probabilities change? Like, what are the probabilities of this person coming in the top 3, top 6? And it gives you the numbers based on the previous races. Like, it just integrates external data a little more seamlessly. Like, ChatGPT does have the browse feature, but it even tells you it's like clicking on a link,
Yeah.
reading the link.
No, the browsing of Bard, the Google advantage is big. But I think that is where Bard excels. And I think that in 80% of other cases, for me, ChatGPT is what excels. So there's 20% of cases for sure that Bard is exceptional.
I just want,
But it's also
Bard-
just very, very confident.
I'm waiting for multimodal AI, and I
Mhm.
want Bard to create PowerPoint presentations for me in Google Slides, and I want ChatGPT to create it for me in Microsoft PowerPoint, and I want multimodal.
Those are ready. They
I
just
need
haven't given
charts.
them
I need images,
They
and
announced all
they're
that.
just they're almost there.
to us. No,
but
they're almost there publicly.
Right, they're probably already there
Oh,
privately.
they're all
But
using
that
it.
will unlock a whole lot
Massive
of efficiencies in our business, in my personal time, and I think people will get way more.
Did you
creative.
guys see the Microsoft announcements? Microsoft Fabric,
What's
like all the
Fabric?
stuff
What
they're
is Fabric?
doing all this really incredible like stuff on the data side and bringing together like 3 different tools that existed. What do you keep laughing
Sorry,
at? In the chat? I just
They're
I feel like
questioning
I'm
the
missing
realness
out.
of Steven's
When we have a
shirt
chat,
pocket.
there's like weird stuff where they're questioning whether my pocket
See,
is
I need
real.
the chat up on like a monitor or something to like
Confirm
This is a
real?
This
I
is a
can't-
confirmed real pocket chat.
Yeah, is it a pocket?
That's right.
Oh my god. Anyway, Fabric's pretty great. Business intelligence tools, basically. Bringing all of it together on one roof, and then all the upgrades that are coming to Office and those workflows, those automations, Copilot automations. Yeah, same thing that Google's going to do. I mean, yeah, it's going to be wild for productivity gains in the office for sure. Yeah. Cool.
Gosh.
Does everyone have their last sip of this tequila?
Yeah, I have.
We're-
I have-
we're
I have
out. We're done.
exactly half a.
I
How did we
can't
go
believe that
through
we
it
need more than
so
a
much
bottle
faster?
per episode.
We
That's
probably
wild.
shouldn't.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, we could just have like a beer to start.
Would
maybe.
you guys like to? May I invite you to reading club afterwards? Does that make you feel better? That
Oh
I
my
properly
Oh.
invite you.
gosh, golly, G. Willikers, would I ever like to? I can't even talk right now. God.
Is
Oh,
that
man.
pocket real?
Armand's making all these deep points, and like Emma's in the
Yeah,
chat,
I'm like, what are you guys? I'm like trying
That's-
to.
that's
talk
not
to
a-
you here.
that's not a
Well,
real
what
shirt
we really need
pocket.
to do is just talk to the community. Actually, I'm trying. Honestly, like I want it up on a thing that I can see, and then that way we can easily. I don't want to look at my phone. Then we can easily talk to people. So Nick, we have some stuff coming to give us capabilities to do this.
Yeah,
right?
so they might involve some exchange. It's gonna cost you. It's gonna
I
cost
love
you.
that one.
It's not
It's a
cheap.
terrible way to monetize. Who would ever want to turn
I
my
don't
mic
know.
off?
I think it's a great way.
I'm literally gonna set up an auto GPT to just occasionally just roll in.
There's gonna be like a bot
Into the-
coming in,
it's just gonna be
doing
a bot, just shows
$20.
up and
I
does that.
will, on my own, just donate while I'm speaking.
It's gonna be like a hot, sexy, bearded Persian just muted Steven's mic. That's weird. I haven't seen him before.
It's gonna be stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I think they'll be able to,
Ability
like-
throw some comments up on the screen.
Yeah, like if you
Right.
I have to.
It'll be sick.
How
So
much would
every
it
week getting
cost
better.
to make one of us take a shot, you think?
I don't know. I think that's like a good. We need a.
My price is gonna
Price
be
is
very.
high.
My price is very high.
price
I don't
is
like
high.
shots. I do not like
What do you
shots.
need? $5? I got 5 on it.
My price is pretty low.
I love that for you. I love that.
All right. Do you want to?
Splendid.
Do you want to wrap
Rapper.
with some final calls to action for everybody?
Wrap it.
Okay. First of all, thank you everybody for showing up. Chat is hilarious. You guys are awesome. I'm glad you're all there tonight. Super fun interacting with everybody. If for some reason any of you are not subscribed to the YouTube, please subscribe. Trying to get this thing up to a whopping 4 digits. We are a YouTube show now. We are technically a YouTube show, so please join us on YouTube if you are listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever else we bring this thing. And if you have not joined the Discord, we reference it a lot. All links at alfalfapod.com. Come join the Discord. We talk about this stuff all the time. It's a real party in there. We had some great invention banter before the episode started today. Somebody's saying something in the chat about me right now,
No,
aren't
I'm
they?
just catching up on this pocket.
Oh,
talk.
okay.
It's amazing.
Goat
Pocket
Inventions,
Gate.
pockets.
Pocket Gate.
It's fucking real.
Discussing the conspiracies
It's the
thread.
real question of this podcast. Steven, please stick your fingers in the pocket. No, shirt pocket. The pocket on your shirt. This is amazing.
I love that people thought that like when they said stick your finger in your pocket, I would go to my. Nobody even realizes the shirt pocket exists.
Well, 'cause it's
ridiculous.
fake.
Yes, it's not a real pocket.
Oh, splendid.
Anyway, yeah, thank you everybody. We love you all. We'll see you here next week, possibly slightly later. I have some thoughts on this, but
What?
But we'll
No.
let you. We'll let you
Whoa.
know.
Don't listen to
Don't
stuff.
We'll let you
change a
know.
good thing, brother.
Veto.
That's right.
All right, ignore the last comment. Peace.
Bye.
Love you guys.